Okay, think about this for a second. What if the internet you use literally every single day isn't really filled with people anymore? What if the vast majority of what you read, what you watch, and what you interact with was actually created entirely by machines? Look, the once dismissed paranoia of a machine dominated web hasn't just arrived, it has quietly and honestly pretty chillingly become our reality.
I mean, how many of the people you've interacted with today were actually human? It sounds like the setup for some dark, dystopian sci fi thriller, right? But seriously, think about the posts you liked today, the comments you read, the product reviews you skimmed over. How many of those authors actually had a pulse? As we're going to see from the data in this explainer, the answer might deeply unsettle you.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The conspiracy becomes reality, from fringe forums to statistical fact. So, for years, the dead internet theory was just brushed off as total paranoia. It started with these weird whispers on forums like 4chan around 2016 and 2017, basically claiming that genuine human activity had just quietly dwindled away. Then in 2021, a user named Illuminati Pirate posted this massive, incredibly detailed thread on Agora Road's Macintosh Cafe. They alleged that most human-created content was just an illusion, completely replaced by AI networks working in cahoots with powerful actors to manipulate public opinion and essentially gaslight the whole world. Back then, yeah, it was a wild conspiracy. But fast forward to the data we have today in 2026, and the core of that theory, an internet absolutely overrun by artificial actors, is no longer a fringe belief. It's a documented reality. But here is the absolute jump scare hidden in the statistics. According to the 2025 Imperva Bad Bot Report, 51% of global web traffic comes from automated programs. I want you to just let that sink in for a second. For the first time since the literal creation of the web, the digital frontier is dominated by non-human actors. The machines officially outnumber us online.
And it's not just background server traffic we're talking about here. It's the creation of information itself. A whopping 52% of all new articles published online are now AI-generated. So while the historical web still holds our old human archives, the new stuff, the articles, the social posts, the news published today, is officially more likely to be artificial than human.
And culturally, we are absolutely feeling this shift. Get this. There was a staggering 900% increase in mentions of the phrase AI slop between 2024 and 2025. And honestly, that term perfectly captures it, right? It's this endless flood of low-quality automated content farms just pumping out standardized, cheap prose designed not for human enjoyment, but just to feed algorithms. Which brings us to part 2. Welcome to the dark forest, the lifelike but entirely lifeless web. The psychological toll of all this artificial flood is, frankly, terrifying. The designer and anthropologist Maggie Appleton hit the nail on the head. She says, most open and publicly available spaces on the web are overrun with bots. It's like a dark forest that seems eerily devoid of human life. In this dark forest, living creatures, us, real humans, have to literally hide beneath the ground in private group chats or closed Discord servers. Because if you step out into the open web, you risk being completely overwhelmed by automated predators and endless algorithmic junk. So what is actually happening out there in that open forest? Well, in many corners of the web, machines aren't even assisting humans anymore. They're primarily just interacting with each other. We're seeing these massive automated echo chambers where an AI generates a post and then thousands of fake bot-run accounts like, share, and comment on that exact same post. It's just a closed loop of entirely artificial interaction. Moving on to Section 3, the search quality paradox, or fleeing the algorithmic slop. And this brilliantly illustrates the weird paradox we're in right now. On one hand, you've got these shiny AI overviews at the top of your search results, right? But they've been totally gamified by spammers, leading to factually wrong answers that are basically just parasitic on original human sources. On the other hand, we have human-curated search. Sure, it's unpolished, it's messy, but it's authentically human, and it actually contains the real first-hand knowledge that people are desperately looking for. Because of this massive drop in quality, the research firm Gartner predicted a huge 25% plunge in traditional Google search volume by 2026. Users are just so incredibly frustrated by the AI slop contaminating their results that they're migrating in droves to alternative AI tools like Perplexity and Claude just to do basic everyday research. But honestly, maybe the most telling reaction to all this is this viral, almost ironic workaround. Millions of users, maybe even you, have literally just started typing Reddit at the very end of their search queries. Why? Because they are desperately manually filtering out the polished, algorithmic junk, just trying to find a messy, unpolished, real human being's actual opinion. Now for part 4, the threat of model collapse, the epistemological centipede. Okay, so here's where the technical horror really kicks in. It's a highly dangerous feedback loop. Step 1, AI models train on decades of our actual human data. Step 2, the internet completely floods with the AI-generated text those models create. Step 3, the next generation of AI inadvertently scrapes and trains on the output of that past AI. Ultimately, the output degrades. It's exactly like a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. All the original meaning just breaks down. Researchers actually call this model collapse. Actually, the sources use this incredibly visceral, deeply disturbing metaphor for this exact process: human centipede epistemology. So epistemology is basically how we know what we know. And here, it's becoming this continuous, closed-loop regurgitation of generic AI ideas. As these models feed on each other, original thought is completely stripped away, leaving us in this inescapable, generic spiral of noise. This leads us to the climax of our explainer, Section 5, Proving You Are Human. The resistance in the digital age. So we're now facing this fascinating, totally inverted reality known as the reverse Turing test. Historically, right, the Turing test was about a machine trying to convince us it was human. Well, now the tables have completely turned. As Maggie Appleton points out, our new challenge as little snowflake humans is to prove to each other that we aren't language models just generating predictive text. Crazy, right? Proving you are human is now vastly more important than proving you are online. So how exactly do we pass this reverse Turing test? Consider this your digital survival guide. First, by triangulating objective reality. AI doesn't have a body. It can't smell, it can't touch, and it can't reference highly localized physical human experiences. Second, by formulating truly original, unrecycled critical thoughts. Third, by embracing what linguists call la parole. Basically the weird, informal quirks, niche internet dialects, and super fresh memes that machines simply cannot keep up with. And finally, developers are leaning hard into cryptographic provenance, using digital credentials like the C2PA standard to mathematically sign content as authentically human-made. But at the end of the day, the ultimate defense mechanism against this dead internet is the great logging off, a return to meat space. It means shutting the laptop, going out to local coffee shops, organizing real-world meetups, and actually showing up with your physical body. Because AI literally cannot follow you there. We are absolutely standing at a profound crossroads right now. The internet is no longer just a mirror of human life, it's practically an autonomous ecosystem of artificial agents. So we have to decide, are we going to just surrender to the automated noise, or will we actually fight to build a new digital humanism where authenticity is our absolute most precious currency? Which is why I want to leave you with the exact same haunting question we started with. The next time you open an app, read a headline, or just scroll mindlessly through a feed, ask yourself, how many of the people you've interacted with today were actually human?